What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. This is the last week for the Caroline Spice promotional deal. So get your simple jokes into me. Email is thehealycast, HELEY, @yahoo.com. Also, today we had a great guest, an amazing guest, to be honest. We talked about conspiracy theories a lot. It was kind of overwhelming, to be honest. Guys, help me welcome. Actually, hold on. We also brought back a previous guest. I'm all over the place today, but we brought back a previous guest. Austin Slaughter is here, and we also brought Thomas Ramey into the podcast. Guys, this is like a JRE, Tim Dillon, Alex Jones moment for me. So, guys, I hope you enjoy. Woo! Where do we begin?
Bro,
What conspiracy
it's
theory
his
should
show,
we
man.
begin? Yeah.
Well, actually, we could talk about how we met,
Yeah, go for it. How'd you two meet in the first place?
sir.
Yeah, we met at we both were just extras in a local movie that they were.
Oh,
were
that's right.
filming.
Okay.
So we hooked up. We hooked up there at the movie. We were both just sitting around for a while, waiting for our cue to do our part inside the movie. But we started just talking back and forth about just various
Movies
subjects.
called Out of Exile. You can see us. We're both bar patrons. That was what
Okay.
our roles were. Peter Green, the bad guy from The Mask, he's in that movie. He
No
plays
shit.
the villain. And I'll tell you right now, man, that guy is a good performer.
Very awesome.
I don't think he's acting much. I think he's just kind of like that.
He's like that in real life.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool dude, man. He's pretty
Hell
cool.
yeah.
Pretty awesome.
But so you just met on set? Like you guys just
Yeah.
clicked and everything?
Yeah. We just started yakking back and forth about different subjects, man. Just hit it right off.
Yep, Peter Green is a gnarly conspiracy theorist.
Oh, God.
What was he said something about DARPA? I don't even know what the hell DARPA is.
Yeah. What? Okay, we're
That
getting
one,
we're getting into that. What's
you?
DARPA?
Okay.
Yeah. What is DARPA?
I don't
Do you
know.
know?
Yeah, DARPA.
I knew my producer would know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dig into that one, man.
DARPA has been in control of a bunch of programs and operations that we're supposed to be able to see in the future, technically. So,
Okay.
if you look into DARPA, you can find that they had they have a cure to a zombie apocalypse, or a strategy to curing a zombie apocalypse kind of
I've
stuff.
seen some things about that.
So, what they're, I mean, of course, they're a secret thing, kind of, definitely, it's almost like Agenda 21 or 201.
Agenda 21, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's hard to be able to say this is who's doing it and whatnot, because
Right.
they do that to make it all a facade, technically, make conspiracy theorists look like conspiracy theorists.
Right.
Technically, whenever you say a conspiracy theorist, that is incorrect. Like, to me, you're not a conspiracy theorist. You study conspiracies,
Right.
and you come up with theories to how those have been implicated
Right.
to people's lives and how they got it up going. But how we know exactly what happened is very hard to do, and that's what they use against us. And then they start up the term, of course, conspiracy theorists,
Exactly.
just
It just
to
shuts
be able
down
to
people's
slander
minds.
people, right, and close them up.
When most people hear the word conspiracy theory, it's like it shuts their head down. They don't even look further into it. They're like, this is all fake, so I don't even want to look further into it.
Exactly.
So, what's one of the big ones that you got into?
I dug into like the HARP for a while, which is like the weather control devices, which, I mean, legitimately, like in the 1950s, they were actually doing a little bit of weather control over the farms, and that's where it started, to try to keep the crops growing and stuff, and it's just kind of developed.
That started out
Bigger,
with
like-
cloud seeding.
Yeah,
Cloud
correct?
seeding, and now it's just gotten larger. I mean, but now it's like used for like a more kind of weaponized.
So did we cause the winter storm? Because the whole South didn't want to stay inside during COVID, right? The whole South was like, fuck you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We don't need no fucking mask. And then Biden became president, and he's like, fucking make it rain.
It's a possibility, dude.
I just went into that.
I,
just,
I see where those
there's-
dots can be
you
connected.
know, just
I think there is theories out there that it
Interesting.
was, fully controlled.
oh, I don't. They've got ways, right?
Well, I remember. So a while back, I was a snowmaker out in Colorado, and they talked about doing cloud seeding. And I asked about how that goes down. They're like, from what I gathered, they were like, there's different stuff that they like metals that they drop in the clouds to, I guess, cause more condensation, or the whatever the water vapors to stick to stuff to make bigger droplets to drop the water or drop precipitation more.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I love. Here's where I come from on these conspiracy stuff. I love all of it. I want it all to be true. That's my heart and soul. I know that I want it to be true more than I'm willing to do any goddamn research, like that. And so, like, I go down these holes, like we were talking about, and that like the QAnon stuff is just absolutely fascinating. And the like I went so long. I wanted to get the Q poster where they have all. It's a big spider web that it looks like it was put together by a crazy person, but I just absolutely love it. But I'm a freak, and so that's
True.
I know that about myself.
The map that you're talking about, which one? Because there's several of them.
It's the one from the Fall Cabal series.
Okay,
Where that one British lady that I assume was hired by Fiverr to read through all this. But anyway, it's just fantastic. Like there's all these certain connections, and then it's like everything. Like have you know what I'm talking about? This big map is just. If you haven't seen it, look up the QAnon map and try not to buy a tapestry to put on your wall.
God.
It's on my background on my laptop.
Of course it is.
Cool. I've actually got a bunch of printouts based off of doing research from there, and FOIA reports and declassified documents and stuff.
Whoa.
Pulled from the Black Vault or WikiLeaks and stuff like that. Just get it all collected, and I actually title it so I got a whole stack full that has at the top you saw says cloning. And the patents held by that and the laws that were regulated to make it to where some of this stuff is possible. They got permission to make fetal,
Pigs
to
or
clone fetal eggs, pretty much. So you have half of the beginning to cloning humans legal in the system.
That's scary.
And
So
some
basi-
states,
so
some states
basically-
actually went and legalized it, but some of them actually allow it.
So
that's-
basically, what they're trying to do is make duplicates of everyone on Earth and then kill the ones that don't think the same.
What?
Yeah. So Facebook, you know about Facebook being what was it called, LifeLock or something like that? Do you remember the name of it?
I thought LifeLock was like don't steal identities.
No, that's why I got that word.
Yeah, that
it's
guy
not
got
LifeLock.
his identity stolen. The dude was like, "This is my social security number." He got his identity stolen like 70 times or some shit.
But Facebook and Twitter and a bunch of these other things actually have permission to collect all of your data. And whenever they collect all your thoughts and your downloads, and Google too, you go and search everything, it's got all of that collected, and all they have to do is clone you and then program it with everything that says you were you, and then you're not needed.
Sweet.
Have you seen recently where the banks have there's certain banks that are sending your information to the government too of where you've traveled. If you
Oh, no
traveled within
kidding.
New York.
And they probably
what
legally
you
got
bought, if you
that
purchased,
allowed.
what your purchases are on your card.
That's
They're
so
sending
comforting.
your purchases to the government so they can see where you've shopped throughout New York and Washington.
Well, they did that a
that's
lot
so
because
comforting.
of January 6th. Whenever they did that, the January 6th thing, they've got permission.
What happened
Facebook
January
watched-
6th?
Yeah, what happened?
I'm fucking with you, sorry.
the march to
Yeah. No, we.
okay.
I was I do that. Be prepared for those.
You're in a room with two comics.
But I
so-
do love that there will be that long pause for other people to laugh. So that's nice.
Yeah.
That's for
beautiful.
you people out there in space.
Man, you should have seen me checking. I was like, is he real?
Yeah.
This
guy's wearing a fucking
looked
wire.
at me. He's like, wait.
I'm done here.
Get out. Get out.
What happened January 20th?
I got my 1 month
Yeah.
sobriety.
Yeah,
There you go. Yeah, that's an
A
important
new
thing.
update to Call of Duty Cold War, I think, happened.
Oh yeah, cool.
That's
Nothing else.
I don't remember
Nothing
anything
else
else,
major
yeah.
happened, right? No.
Man, yeah, no, I got that 1 month chip. That was a big day for me.
That's awesome.
But
You're 2 months now. Right?
I got my
Yeah.
2 month last night actually.
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is the longest I've ever gone in my entire life not drinking. Not entire life, I guess, since I turned 21. Yeah.
Since I turned 20.
Since I turned 21, I hadn't had 2 months of continual sobriety.
I'm at 33 days of sober.
My man.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
man.
dude. It's really cool to not have voices.
I feel like you still have some voices, but not.
Oh yeah, no, they're
Yeah.
quieter, and
Quiet.
yeah, the funnier ones are louder. So
There
that's
you
good.
go.
So Thomas,
Voices never go away, man.
no,
Yeah, voices never go away. All right, let's start with the obvious conspiracy theory. This is the oldest one, JFK.
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 Yeah, JFK. That one is. They took him out. They took him out.
Who's they? Us or we took him out?
We took him out because
I love
he was
that.
going to do exactly what Donald J. Trump did: expose all the people within the government, the deep state that was trying to take down our system.
Right.
And he was the first one to actually say he was going to do that. And that was the problem is back then.
We didn't have social media or
we didn't
anything
have
to
the
shut
technology
people
we do.
out.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have so many cameras out there, you couldn't take somebody out without it.
So Trump's ass is safe.
It's the main reason why Navalny's still alive. If Navalny, Putin's enemy, like the main reason why he's
Oh,
still
yeah,
alive right now is
that's
because
true.
of that social media and cameras and everything's out there now.
That is
He
true.
would
I
have been
didn't think
gone. He would have
about
been
that.
disappeared.
What did that guy do?
Navalny?
Yeah.
He decided to step up against Putin. I think he was going to run, but after he made a trip to I forgot where it was, somewhere in Europe, I think.
It was he was flying from like his hometown of Tajab or whatever in Russia. He's flying to Moscow. Not 20 minutes into the flight, he started having reactions and seizures, and they had to stop off in a small town.
That was prior to his.
Was that prior
for
to
him-
another-
Yeah, before
okay.
he got arrested, because then he went and did something and came back, and as soon as he landed back in Russia, he was immediately arrested, and they even used tear gas to get him and stuff.
Yeah.
So right now, I think he's still in holding, but like normally, Putin would just say, "Erase that guy."
How do we know that guy's not a bad guy?
That's true. Like now, we don't.
Because there's a lot of things going on where I don't understand stuff, and that's where Mia Healy hit it off. Is
I'm a fucking moron.
is
so yeah.
we bond on being like, should we say something or does everybody know this?
Right? Yeah.
Like,
It's like
What do you guys think about like John F. Kennedy's son? And do you think he's still actually alive?
oh yeah,
Junior?
that's absolutely my favorite
tough
part
one,
of the
honestly.
cabal.
he's the one that condemned Biden, wasn't he? Or is that a
No, he's the
different
one that's
Kennedy?
supposedly dead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
JFK is the one with the plane crash, and they had no evidence to say that he was actually supposed to be declared dead, but it was obviously. It seems like
don't know
either
any
they
of this.
actually got him, and plane crashes are rare. Everybody knows this now. Like with all the stuff that's happened in the past, if they go look at it, plane crashes aren't
John
supposed
Denver.
to happen. And so with his plane crash, the idea is that I think it was who Bush's. I think. Oh, I don't know if I'm. Don't mean to put any blaming on it because I don't know, but apparently the Bushes.
In
Yeah, the
theory.
conspiracy is that either the Bushes or the Clintons, one or the other, took out the junior, JFK Jr.
What if we
But
just both say
he
it's both
is
them?
apparently this is QAnon. QAnon believes that John F. Kennedy Jr. actually knew about the hit prior
Right.
and then set up his own crash with them practically to give them the facade that he actually died to their causes, but he escaped due to his own free will. And then he would be coming back. That is a conspiracy theory that the QAnon group has come up with.
Now this is this Kennedy is the one under the desk, the famous picture. Is that
No, that was Monica Lewinsky.
not? Well, no. The
Good
famous
stuff.
photo.
Bazinga!
The famous photo where John F. Kennedy, the president, was sitting on top, like he
Yeah,
was signing papers,
snot
and
nose
then
piece of shit kid. And
it had the
Oval
little
Office.
door open with the.
Oh yeah, little sneaky.
Right
Yeah,
through
I
the
think that is
cabinet
something.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Was that him?
I think so.
Okay.
Is that when he started gathering intel against
That's
the deep
probably-
state?
probably.
Whenever he was a little Nino. I love that.
All right, so
That's
the
adorable.
thing about the presidencies and even Congress and House, Senate, stuff like that is a lot of the family members are just from age whatever. all the way up.
Groomed.
Yeah, they're groomed.
Jesus.
To the point where they'll even go to the prep schools or the colleges that they did, and then they get what is it called? Whenever they have their parents
Nepotism.
in there.
Nepotism. Jesus.
I forgot what it's called, but they get pretty much freebies, and they get first on the list, even if their
Yeah.
GPA is not
What's her
good.
name? Alyssa
What's that?
Milano.
Preference.
Yeah, pretty
What?
much. I forgot what it's
Alyssa
called.
Milano. She got her kid
It's like a
into
legend
USC.
status.
Oh.
Like their
Because
parents
of her
went to school
status.
there, and so
No?
you get
'Cause
first.
she was
on
in
that
Charmed?
list. And that's normally through the
She bribed her daughter into
private schools, prep school, or what are those called? Ivy League. You go to an Ivy League school, and actually most of those Ivy Leagues started before the America was even the country.
That is true. They were British. Technically.
Yeah. So whenever you think about that, and the British knowing that they wanted to hold us, and because we were trying to escape. They probably implemented a source like Ivy League
Of
schools to
education
keep
and
on
whatnot.
infiltrating us with their own people. But the thing a lot of people don't know is that we actually went back to Britain for help because we didn't have trading routes or a currency that was back.
Right.
So even when we became an independent country,
We still had help.
we still needed the help from the people we were escaping from, and that to the Rockefeller banking system and the Rothschild all connects to the point where we
gonna
went
have a
into
lot of
debt, and Donald
anxiety on
Trump
this
declared
one.
that to try to get us out of that corporation.
See, that's been my theory. That's good information that I didn't dig into, but that's been my theory for a long time that we never really actually got away fully from the kingdom because, I mean, we put too much emphasis on weddings and all this kind of stuff. Follow them
Holy shit.
completely too much, and it's like why do we care so much to follow them if we are so far away from them?
That's awesome that you mentioned weddings because the marriage thing, I actually did research in that independently too. It was actually a fashion thing, and we picked up on it because the queen wore a white dress, and it just so happened to be this really fancy thing. And if you wanted to be like that, and you wanted your husband to treat you like that, then that was pretty much the role became part of culture. Because of the queen wearing it. It's pretty much just like a trend. If Michael Jordan wore that, then the basketball players are going to wear it. So whenever a woman wanted to
everyone
be
wants to be
treated like a
23.
queen, and that was kind of an advertisement. It was like, you got to treat your wife like she's a queen. And they've just pretty much got that brainwashed into people. And ever since then, they've been spending buco bucks on a dress that was pretty much just a fashion trend.
I still think it's all right to treat your wife like a queen.
Oh, amen. I don't mean to say don't, but that doesn't mean put yourself in debt right when you get married in order to appease her by buying a $15,000 dress and a $20,000 ring. If you can't do it, then just don't. Know that you're going to give her that love, and attention.
It's almost like your relationship should be deeper than financial.
Really?
Like that.
Almost.
Don't
There's an
say.
underlining message like that. So.
But don't get me wrong, it'll shut her up.
That initial debt is exactly how they just completely keep you for the rest of your life, locked into the system of okay, I absolutely have to go same job every day, barely make it every week. They design us to sit there and think, okay, I got to have the new car, the new house, this, that, and the other, and you buy yourself into that, and then you're stuck. Then they got you. They've got you, and you don't get out.
It's pretty tough to get out, anyways.
This goes deeper than I thought. We just went from weddings. Like I
Yeah.
didn't realize weddings
Dan,
were part of the
You're doing that thing
conspiracy.
my mom does. It's like whenever you're in the middle of a vacation and she ruins it by saying, "We're having fun, right? Are we having fun?" Yeah, Mom, we were having a ball until you told us.
I mean, how far have you dug into like the MK Ultra mind control program?
I have a lot of that printed out.
This
I've
is gonna
watched
be a
most
lot
any movie that
Malachi
was made
intolerance.
around it,
I'm all about
and,
it.
I love it.
The MK Ultra program, of course, I'm sure you would imagine, it is still in play. On
Absolutely.
paper, they said that's why a lot of the
It was
FOIA
never locked
documents.
out, yeah.
It's kind of like I want it to be real, but then the conspiracy in your mind that when you learn too much, it's like, well, this piece of paper was written by somebody who had an idea, and that idea is overriding my own free thoughts, and maybe that was planted there. You know, and I mean, like, maybe not think about stuff like that all the time. I mean, I would play video games and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I love to play basketball.
Well,
Then
you
the
just-
hippies got a hold of all the acid and ruin the whole game plan because it's a system. You got to go step by step.
Well,
you can't just go
so
right to
you
giving
just
them
said
acid.
You found
Funny that
you
you
find a
mentioned acid,
document,
though.
you don't know necessarily who wrote it. That's kind of the same with religion as well. Like, who created religion? Was it
The
God?
term religion or a religion?
A religion. Who created a religion? Like, was it God himself or was it man?
First person who saw the sun, it's like,
So,
good.
but that allows that
Saw-
allows them to manipulate.
saw rain
A
and they
human
were
being
like-
can manipulate anything. If you're a
Oh, yeah.
god,
Yeah.
you wouldn't manipulate, or you wouldn't think a
Yeah.
god wouldn't.
Well,
I mean,
okay.
Thor might have
You
manipulated things.
you've always been on that guy. Every single
Yeah,
podcast.
Yes,
is like
I understand. I've been on
a
that.
little bit on religion. A little bit on religion.
I love touching religion.
So-
it's all connected, guys. It's all
It is just like marriage.
As crazy as that sounds, that's to me personally. When I went into, because I was actually a Christian before I went to go prove that my religion was right to my brother who was atheist. And I don't know if I should be saying this on. Sorry, Sam. He was like, he's the only one. So if
Is he
anybody
still an
looked into it-
atheist?
No, he's not.
Gotcha.
Well, his mindset on it is a little bit different. I'll let him talk about that eventually someday. But technically, what I saw whenever I went to go prove it wrong, I mean, like it was right, I found myself questioning more while looking into the research for it than I was wanting to. Like, it really drove me a little bit further away. And whenever I started losing that faith, I went to quantum physics. Quantum physics brought me all the way back around from I don't like religions, not Christianity. Like, I believed in Jesus the whole time during I had this whole phase. But in hindsight, I was in his shoes where it's like all these religions are causing war. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was like, well, we should get rid of that.
They're
I
also
almost felt
making
like writing a
hospitals.
paper, and I got all into it. I was really big. I was passionate about this topic. And when I got to the end of quantum physics, I pretty much boiled it down to, and several physicists have had this kind of epiphany too, that this is not necessarily what you can call an accident. The chances that you and I are sitting here and talking to each other based on the elements that started up in the Big Bang, that are astronomical. You'd have to win the lottery like 100,000 times in a row.
I would say based solely on my car being a piece of shit, it makes it incredibly unlikely that we were going to get together.
Exactly.
Did you drive the Vic?
No, that Vic is gone.
I thought the
don't-
Honda's a piece of.
No, it's fine.
I was about to say
that-
that's
that-
so much nicer than
that-
what I have up front.
Yeah.
So I was talking to Austin on the way in, and he told me about his family and being religious. And you said you're religious most of your life,
Yes,
right?
I'm Christian.
Have you been
I,
religious most of your life? or
I
what?
was raised religious and I escaped it because like both of my parents are like God this, God this, God this. If you don't do this, then you're going to hell. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just do me and accept the facts that there is no God. There is something higher, but
Yeah, whatever.
When I,
Yeah, definitions, right? No, well, I like in my sobriety, I stepped away from the church, and in order to get like in the AA meetings, the first they're like, one, understand that you got problems and your life is unmanageable, and I was like, check and check, and then the second one was. Is understand that there is a higher power out there that can deliver you back to your sanity. And I was like, man, I like that sanity idea. That sounds pretty cool. But still incredibly difficult problems with the history of church. It's like we get to a certain point where to me it became very akin to joining Amway. Where there's sold on this really this idea, and then you start digging into the idea, and then whenever there's holes in some of it, then you ask some questions, and primarily the answers you get back are When you're younger, is you ask God when you get there, which bummed me out
Yeah, I remember that one.
because that means that this is all dependent upon me dying to get my answers. When I was like 8, like I'm 8 years old. You're just gonna have to ask God when you get there. I'm like, okay, so
I don't know if I'll remember.
yeah. I'll have a lot of other things going on because I just died.
How'd I get here?
Why I asked you about that is 90% of my life I was atheist.
Oh, you got to
Oh,
tell
wow.
this story.
So I mean, I didn't believe in anything. My family, my parents, they never took me to church. Not that I can remember, unless it was like 2 or 3 years old or something.
Yeah.
But they never spoke of it or anything like that. So I grew up atheist, but I wasn't one of those dick atheists where I I don't want to hear what you have to say. I wanted to hear what you had to say. So I would talk to people that were religious because it's like I had a hole in myself my whole life, in my chest, this empty hole that I could not feel. So I needed something. It's like, man, if you believe in it, and it makes you feel so good, then why do you believe in it? Is what I wanted to know. So I would talk to all different kinds of religions and people just to find out. And really, what brought me slowly to God a little bit in a fast way was a motorcycle wreck about six years ago. I think around 6 years ago. Guy whacked me from the side and with his truck and threw my body like 4 lanes over. So I broke my pelvis in half, broke my leg, broke this collarbone, broke this arm, and I woke up on the road. And they said the guy was sitting on the side of the road, but there was this little blonde lady that was sitting over me, watching me, because I was laying there, and I guess she was protecting me. But she was sitting there, and I'm a smart ass, on everything. So the first thing I woke up and asked her if I still look pretty. I'm laying there, and I knew, because I asked her, is my leg all right? I remember asking her that. Even though I couldn't feel pain, I guess my body had shut down. I couldn't feel no pain.
Not to interrupt, but for those only listening, he's a biker looking motherfucker.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
He wouldn't strike you as a pretty boy. He's a man.
Yeah, she was laying there, so I asked her if I still looked pretty, but that wreck right there is pretty much what slowly got me thinking, man, I need to change my life, because, I mean, if something happens, I'm absolutely denying that there's anything out there, so I need to search,
I thought the Prey Girl, like he was gonna say, and then I blinked and the Prey Girl was
And
gone,
then she disappeared.
and
It was the devil.
that made me believe.
But she, next thing I just kind of kept passing out, in and out, but I passed out, and the next thing I know, I woke up in the ambulance, and they're telling me they're taking me to the city, that they needed to call my wife, and I gave them the phone. The only thing I remember there is my wife asking me if I'm okay, and the only thing I remember saying is, I don't know. And then I passed out again. The next thing I know, I woke up, and they had me flipped on my back, and something woke me up pretty quick there.
On your back?
Yeah. Oh, no, they had me on my front.
Okay.
They were laying on my chest.
Gotcha.
And they said they had to do a internal bleeding check. So I guess they were going in from the backside. And I woke up and asked him, said, so what are you doing? And he said, we're checking you for internal bleeding. I said, well, don't do that.
You know what? I'll just deal with the internal bleeding. I'm a tough guy.
just to lighten it up. But really, I was in a wheelchair for about 3 months.
Damn.
But then I started searching,
And how was the heel?
How'd it heal up?
Yeah.
Pretty amazingly, it healed up because it broke my pelvis right here and the guy, one of the doctors told me that I was lucky because where it broke, there's a main artery. People usually bleed out and it
right
breaks
there.
it. So
Yeah.
Jesus.
God was watching over me, honestly. I mean, my whole life I denied and stayed away from religion. But
And how old are you right now?
I'm going to be 48 this year.
48. So you were 42 when that
I'm
happened.
about 41, 42 years old. When I started searching, really searching.
It's one heck of a message. You know?
Yeah, it really is.
So
Use your blinker.
what
God damn it.
What God really is, no one really knows. But I know God is really out there, or power is really out there.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really weird is I started going to church, and I started going to church pretty thoroughly and helping out. And one day I was driving from church, and I pulled into this gas station. I had just got out of church, and I was going to go to work. And I pulled into this gas station, and I just went in there to get an energy drink, to go to work. And I walked past this guy, and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And he said, "Fine." And I walked into the icebox section, got my energy drink, and then I walked up behind the guy, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, not out loud or anything, man, I wished I, had the money. I would buy this guy's stuff. Just in my head. The dude turned around and said, "Man, I would like to buy his stuff."
Wow.
Pointing at me.
Wow.
So to me, and at that point, I was just going to church kind of robotically.
Yeah.
After a little bit. So to me, that was like God telling me, like, "Hey, I'm listening to you." He had that guy turn around and buy my stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Split second after, I thought, I need to buy this guy's stuff. I wish I had the money, just.
Yeah.
It's a nice little
It
wink.
blew my mind.
Yeah.
It really blew my mind.
That
But-
is.
That's interesting.
That's
But
a
it's just kind of opposite of
blessings.
what most people do, is they go to church their whole life and then they go away from it. My
Mhm.
whole life was away from it. and
You
I
go
finally-
towards it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, that's totally opposite from the way I had it.
Yes, Austin. What do you
So
want to say?
I think this is a great transition to talk about flat Earth.
Good stuff.
Exactly where it was going.
Flat Earth.
So I'm sorry. I'll be the confessed
man.
globalist in the room.
Right.
I'm.
Define global. It's a globe.
Yeah,
Right.
we're on a big ball covered in water and dirt.
It's not flat.
And it's not flat. So that's where I'm coming from here, and I am just so amped to hear
Oh God.
anything else.
On your
I got a
side.
theory, dude, because
I would love to. I've looked into it, and I'm not gonna lie. It's one of those things that's hard to prove or disprove because of what we have available to us as far as physics
Right.
goes. But the people who defend it, there's like 2 or 3 things that helps them stay in the game.
So, Thomas, I've seen some of your drawings, and he's, for those who don't know, great cartoonist over here, another artist. And are you a flat earther?
dude, I'm not really sure exactly what I think the Earth shape really is. I don't think it's round.
Gotcha.
My theory is it's more of a soup bowl, a bowl, because if the Earth to me,
Concave or
Yeah,
convex?
concave,
So actual. Okay,
yeah,
heard
soup
that.
bowl, because in theory to me,
That's the
if
Super
the
Bowl
Earth
right
is
there.
ever actually flooded, what would contain that water completely around the globe? To me, it would have to have some kind of sides for it to contain a whole, Earth full of water. I think our grounds are more up into a bowl of it, maybe.
Okay.
Kind of
Yeah,
like how
that
you've
makes
seen some of
sense.
the flat Earth.
Right, exactly. I
theories,
know what
but
you're talking
more
about when you say
AD.
that. And I
It's
actually
interesting.
didn't go too far into those maps, so now it makes me really want to go back and look at them. And also, I'd like to see yours. Have you drawn stuff like
I've
that?
drawn some stuff. Yeah,
Dude, I'd love to see
Okay.
that.
That
I guess I'll come out and say I'm a globalist.
now
That-
now
you don't
wanna say it like
now
that.
what we're saying.
No?
Now we're on a list.
Ah, damn it.
Like,
No, but like I think the world is bigger than what they say it is.
you think the world is bigger than that? Go on.
I think there's parts of the world that our government or a higher power has not entirely given us the truth about how big the world is. Like, we see the world, we've seen it from NASA. It's round, maybe. I'm using very loose words here, terms and everything. But my opinion is, I think just with shadowing and everything, they can almost edit and shrink down the world to be like, okay, this is how big we are. There you go. Welcome to the game. But I think there's just, like, I don't know. It's just, I've read a few theories about that one, so I haven't really dove in deep into Flat Earth. Like, I'm more of the political conspiracy theorist, so this is going to be a whole new game for me.
Dude, yeah.
So talking about outer space,
Oh,
Ugh.
yes.
China owns it.
So,
No, it's
our first moon landing.
Uh-oh.
What do you guys think? Because to me, we're in
1960, 1968?
I want to say 3 or 9.
No,
So-
69 was when it happened.
We're
My
in
dad
the-
was 9
we're
years
in the
old.
60s when we still barely have black and white TV signal. And supposedly, correct me if I'm wrong, supposedly the president spoke to them, right? From outer space?
Oh, I don't know,
How did we
actually.
get
You might want to
signal
get that
that
mic a
far?
little closer.
How did
Just
we get the signal that far when we couldn't even just get black and white TV signal back and forth from?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, I think I think what happened, because I've seen some of the reactions from one of the astronauts. I forgot which one it was. But one of the astronauts actually had a very personal reaction against somebody yelling at him, saying that this was fake. And his
I did see that one.
reaction makes me believe that at least he believes he went to the moon. And that's, to me, given all the other circumstantial evidence and stuff like that, it could be an MK Ultra thing, of course. And I'm not going to say we didn't go to the moon, because I still kind of think, it's one of those things, it's tough, and I don't have proof to anything, and that's normally what I work with. I'll go through facts and evidence, and if it's just coincidental or whatever, I can at least build something with it.
Right.
But with this whole moon thing,
The shoe
you
shoe
couldn't
prints
come
are
back
different.
with the film back inside of our atmosphere with film. It would all been destroyed. Then the signal leaving us and getting to that ship, like you're pointing out, our technology, there is a possibility, because the military is normally 20 years in advance to us when it comes down to that kind of technology.
yeah.
So it's possible, yes, that they had the capabilities to do it.
Yeah, with a string and 2 cans. I get it. Yeah. Didn't you see the distance?
You are correct about, I mean, how advanced they are beyond us, because 2017, I went to Washington, and I went to like one of the space museums. And the craziest thing that blew my mind is, all the virtual reality glasses these kids have nowadays
Right. Yes.
to play video games and stuff with. I'll have to show you a picture, but there's one.
Oh, I've seen it. I know what you're
There's
talking
one
about.
inside that space museum that the astronauts used, which is virtual reality glasses that they had back in the 80s.
That was the actual glasses. So before that, they actually had this module that you would go and like walk into, and you'd like be part of this like machine, and that's how you were getting your VR. But
Whoa.
yes, they've been working on VR. It's nothing new to them. It's new to all the people who
Yeah,
are just.
it was
getting
just
to play with
introduced, what, 2010 VR?
Yeah,
Maybe
something like that,
maybe
actually.
2010, 2012, somewhere around there. VR was becoming a big thing for us civilians.
I mean,
But I mean, the pointer lasers.
Yeah.
That's quantum physics, and they had that before we were able to use a laser pointer, because the technology was considered advanced, but now it's just a laser pointer.
that's a cat toy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I use.
Fun
it for.
fact: it was always a cat toy. You were the cat.
Oh no.
But yeah, I really don't know if we've actually made that first landing.
The first
on the
one.
moon.
That's tough.
I do like the videos, because I like I said, I subscribe. I saw one where they shared they were like they sped up the footage to make it look like it, and so the theory is that that they did it on some other studio, and then they slowed down the footage accordingly, and
Right.
and then they sort of
What makes me question it is the boots.
the
The
boots.
Armstrong's suit has like gone around to different science museums. Like it was here in Oklahoma City a while back, and I
We
went
got
and
some
saw it.
spacesuits at the Science Museum.
And the spacesuit hit the bottom of his boot is like flat. Now, if you look at the picture that was taken on the moon, there's grooves in the
In
dirt.
that footprint.
So I'm just curious, and I think they like busted it because of that's what they have on the space,
Yeah, they said there's a covering over it or something.
something like that. Yeah.
There's a radiation belt too that I don't know that we could ever get beyond. That's why I don't know if we've ever even been out into outer space, or if we just exist into lower Earth orbit.
Right. So that's where the space station is. It's actually, most of the time, it's in our lower space orbit. The radiation belt is exactly what I was talking about. The film that they had would never have had made it through that radiation belt with that technology we
I
had.
don't think the
Even
There's
if
no
it was
footage
put
to
in
do.
a lead
it's
refrigerator.
Oh,
You know about
Indiana
the
Jones.
satellite? There was a satellite they said they launched, and it's old. I forgot which one it was, but it went far, and they were reaching new distances, breaking records, and they would turn on their camera to save. Like they turned off a bunch of the stuff to save power so it could last that long. It hit a point that they said was actually pushing back, and their system was not allowed to get through, like that satellite.
It's called
so there
VR.
was something out there. It's not as close as I would imagine. I believe space. I believe in space. So
I believe space.
I believe space. Close your eyes and just make it.
I believe the church.
I believe I can fly.
But how much space is there? I do not know. They go on with the whole ever-expanding universe theories and stuff like that, but most everything you're going to run across, even around Earth, I mean, like, it's theories.
Yeah.
And what people are allowed to do is have free thought and talk about it, but most of the time people will be shunned by saying, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're a QAnoner, aren't you? Or you're a white nationalist. It's
Right,
like
names.
it's like, oh my gosh.
Science denier.
Yeah, and then they want to go and add 100 genders. It's like, okay.
So you're talking about that.
Talking about aliens. Is that what you're talking
Well, we'll get into that.
I
but
do
you're
believe in aliens. That is my
Yes,
higher power
absolutely.
I chose. Yeah.
You're talking about the satellite that was sent and now it's being forced back. So that makes me also just dipping into this conspiracy theory. What if we're in a VR game?
Yeah.
We're living in a really shitty world outside of whatever we're living in here, and we're making it a perfect world, almost a perfect. Well, not
And they
perfect,
still
but-
gave us diarrhea.
and they still gave us Donald Trump. Scientists
Gotta
have
say, douchebags.
scientists have even said it's not possible for someone like Donald Trump to become president. So that's the evidence that we're in a VR. Everyone willed it to come true.
Well, that's because political science is a soft science.
But I mean, it's just a very interesting thing. Like when we die, where do we go? What if the higher up is just us leaving the game?
I mean, I like the idea that we got this one shot. We got these that there's some things that I feel are undeniable, and one thing that's undeniable is doing nice things feels great. That is, and then when you hurt somebody that you care about, it hurts real bad. You feel guilty whenever you come to the realization that I think that a lot of things can be built on that. I think that we have these. Our brains are absolutely fascinating when how we deal with fear and what motivates us, and I think that when it comes, I like the idea that there's some sort of alien overlord controlling like a video game that like The Sims almost. Let's just kind of go about the thing, and what I kind of subscribe to is that what if there is that and they're using us humans to harvest love and imagination. But I'm an old hippie, so
It's a good theory. No, I like
Can
that.
I hit both of these real quick? Just
Yeah,
so you can
go
get a
for it.
little bit of cinema piece. For your theory, they did that in Marvel's
Matrix?
Universe TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
So
Agents
do we
of
trust
S.H.I.E.L.D.
them or not? Or are they?
Well,
Well,
exactly.
that's getting
I
into
talked-
the whole
I
Hollywood
talked-
thing.
Yeah, we talked about Assassin's Creed a little bit, but
Yeah.
also in this movie, they did exactly that. There was a very smart man who decided to help his loved one pretty much escape death by creating this alternative universe, almost like how they did the whole gaming universe
So
kind
kind
of
of like
thing in the movie.
WandaVision almost.
Oh man, WandaVision! Don't get me started on that.
Okay, that's a whole different.
One thing's for
They
sure.
destroyed it,
A
man.
lot of TV watching going on.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we're in COVID-19 in a winter wonderland, so
Well, they're making the shit.
yeah.
Somebody's doing something.
Yeah, and then what you were going off of was Monsters Inc.
Oh yeah, I do recall that.
Holy
But
cow.
what if totally we were
Oh,
all just
adrenochrome.
we're all just like Truman Showed. Like
Well,
we're all just on our
See,
own personal Truman Show.
That's almost literally what we're dealing with. That's what all of our data is going to, and China's buying it. People are buying it. Rich people are buying that idea, and that we are a market tool. Like for me, everything I did is given to people for advertising, marketing strategies, and statistics and stuff to make us do stuff that they want us to do, so that way they make more money. So it is kind of already in the game, if this is the game, that they are using us as almost
Finish
like
him.
Bitcoin. Because that's what Bitcoin is also. I mean, like you pretty much buy into it, and then whenever you buy into it, your value to it makes it go up. You have to value it. So if you decided CNN, if all the world decided CNN's value is zero, and I'm never gonna watch it again, then CNN doesn't exist, and any kind of ideas and marketing schemes and advertisements that they had are no longer going to be accepted throughout the longer term plan.
Right.
Whenever it comes down to I think a group thought and the echo chamber stuff that people talk about, I think that exploring, like understanding people's creative mind, the beautiful mindsets that people have to struggle, like of course it's always bad if something bad happens, of course, but the fear, anger, love, all these different emotions, all these different sets of things help, and what it does is it creates chemicals in your brain, and it makes the next day the future, because what you dealt with right there and how you handled it makes it to where that next day you're either a little bit better or a little bit worse. You know, and I'm not saying people can be you can't really get to the downright crappiest person. Those people exist, and it's really hard to do that from a normal civilian.
I know a few higher ups that are pretty shitty people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The higher ups, but for people like me, if I wanted to be crappy, it's gonna be really hard for
Oh,
me
yeah.
to be as crappy as those millionaires who have the money to be even crappier than me.
Right, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But most people want to be good and love and share happiness. And
Austin,
they
you
have
look
good
confused.
ideas, but those good ideas get corrupted by the very few evil people, and it can make that whole perspective on what was supposed to be good bad.
I understand. I think there's a sliding threshold, right? So like when you deal with, different people from different classes, right? Yeah, I think that everybody has pretty much a very similar threshold for pain and bullshit. Um, so like you talk about your higher ups being able to do shittier things. I'm sure in their mind they're just living on this one path that they understand, just
Right.
like you know, like because when you're homeless, I've been homeless before. When you have nothing, uh, the little things are huge wins, right? And then as you go on, you have all this extra shit, all these other distractions or whatever that it moves the goalpost on, like, I guess what you can and can't handle. I believe that most of these unfixable people that you bring it up are just hurt people. It's a hurt people, and that doesn't change across the board, no matter who you're talking to, no matter what you're dealing with.
So like higher ups are just hurt people.
Well,
I think that
Like
if,
billionaires and all that are hurt people.
well,
I think they're happy people. They have money.
they're not
They can buy
unfixable.
you.
I think
Healy,
They can buy you if they want to.
the
Okay?
unfixable
Come
part wasn't supposed to be there, because I mean,
on.
like just as anybody, they could just have a motorcycle accident, and like they could have been a really crappy person from here to 60 and ended up in some kind of accident and changed their life.
Some
And they
sort
could
of
have been the
reality.
billionaire before and after that
True.
car
Okay.
accident.
There's a lot of
With
dudes
money
in the
also gives them
program.
the capacity to be even better people than those
Yeah.
who don't have the financial
But-
funds to do even the greater
But
things.
also, it doesn't hit you as hard because it's not a sacrifice.
That's
Well,
true.
like if the more money you have, the less it actually will mean to you. If like hey, I got the round, I'll buy all these drinks, and
Yeah.
he's such a nice guy. Like actually, he didn't feel that hit his bank account. This dude just blew his tax return because he's an alcoholic. I did that. I straight up did that. Now, in my head, I was being a really sacrificial person, trying to keep the party going, hurting myself. So when you get to a certain level, I mean, your fears change. So like instead of like us, mostly broke ass people,
Right.
but getting by with what we got and being thankful for what we do have, it's just a different scale of what fucks our day up. When you get rich enough, and we have these signals of success, and these coupons of deeds that we call currency. When you have a shitload of those, it's because you're working your life in these different directions, and other stuff in your life suffers. I hear the story goes on and on forever about a grandpa who was like on a farm, or like an immigrant that came over uh, to start a new life in a new land, and they busted their balls knowing that they might not have anything to show for it other than to give their family just an inch more of comfort,
Right.
so that, because from whatever they saw of starving and whatever causes these abuse and turmoils in their life, they're like, I don't want that for my kids, right? So then that kid, typically the son of the immigrant, right, in the story, sees dad and mom saving money, busting their balls for this dream. They have this vision that they hold on to so strongly, and the kid sees that struggle, and then the dad, over the next so many years, has been saving money so that kid can go to school and get an education, something that they didn't
Right.
have. Well, then that kid, still with that internal thought of, I saw real struggle, I'm not going to let this die. I'm going to bust my ass to take, whatever the industry. Let's say the dude starts like I don't know, he's cleaning cars, right?
Right.
He starts his own car wash, started with a bucket and a mop and a dream. And then he was like, why do I need a mop? I should have got sponges. These are cars. We all run into issues. But then that kid sees and was like, Dad, your passion is so incredible. And for what you did, I want to do everything I can to keep this multi-generational thing going, to show that my last name is stronger than just
Right.
this poor fuck from Fucksville.
And now it's our turn.
And then now there's something that happens on the next level that works so well, that whenever the kid has their kid, right? Now we got the third generation. You see it over and over and over again, that kid was born into a life that did not have that same struggle.
Right.
And then you see drug addiction come through. You see all of the shit that comes along with spoiled ass kids that with zero coping mechanisms on how to handle struggle. And so I guarantee you that whatever these billionaires are, that we're talking about, which turn into a meme, or this almost unreal overlord controlling stuff, if that person does exist and they are causing like that amount of shit, it has nothing to do with what we think it is. We're seeing like the remnants and the ripple effect of just a separate world. So if you watch enough episodes of Intervention,
God.
you'll see the same stories over and over again of like, Grandpa built this thing from that, and it comes down to just a bummery understanding of relationships, and then I have to assume when you stretch yourself that thin, the relationships around you are gonna fall. Like they're
Right.
gonna fall if you don't maintain and take care of the people that you really care about on purpose, out loud. Most of us, we code silence as rejection, and
Yeah.
and
I get it.
and knowing that I have all these spin out thoughts about stuff that's not real,
Right.
and that how many times I can count where I've been like, I better keep these laughs moving so that way I know people aren't mad at me. Where
That's mind of a comic right there. Like if there's no laughs, we're like, oh.
yeah, they must hate me.
Yeah.
And then that's where that happy,
And then it's just a downhill slide
yeah,
for
sad
our
clown, man.
mentality right there. It's like, oh, they hate me. Oh, I'm not funny. Oh, why the fuck am I doing this?
yeah, and
That's
and
gotten
it just
worse
keeps
in the world
going.
nowadays with all the tech,
Social
stuff like-
media
yeah,
and
social
kind of
media,
stuff like
'cause
that. Yep.
If people don't get that hit from all the
Likes.
likes,
Well, social media also, like I've noticed, like having conversations with people on social media, you can't hear what they're saying. You just only read what they're saying. So you don't know.
There's no context.
Yeah, you don't know what the context is. So like someone may call you a racist, but from their point it's like, hey, you're being a little racist. But on there it sounds like you're a fucking racist.
Yeah. I mean, well,
They're a terrible example.
I gotta
don't
equate
know
it
what else.
from getting any text messages that are innocuous from my dad. I get a text from my dad if it's just like cool, and I'm like, what is that? What do you mean cool? Is it cool? Are we cool? I don't know if he's cool. Like, are you are you mad? I just no, it's cool. Is it cool, Dad?
Right.
I don't know if it's cool. And the thing
I seen
is,
a skit on that with a comedy skit with these two comedians that did that because they were doing a text back and forth, misreading it, and he said something about would you like to come over or have a beer or whatever, and he's like, oh, cool, I don't care, you know. Said,
Yeah.
What do you mean I don't care?
you don't care? Like, yeah. And that, yeah, it's no solid communication.
Why does that sound like a Key and Peele episode?
I think
It was a Key and Peele?
Oh.
Okay.
Shout out to Key and Peele.
Yeah,
I hope you listen.
Yeah, whenever you're listening to this. Do they have a random spinner for the podcast?
I wish. I don't
Speaking
know.
of alien invasions,
Yeah,
Yes, let's talk about aliens.
what's your thoughts on that? Do you
So
really think that they?
I think they I think they exist. I think they are here because for a while there, like in the early 2000s, nothing was really happening alien wise, but just recently we're starting to see more alien activity. And like if you go back to World War II when we were creating the atom bomb, there was a lot of alien activity back then. I'm going to take a note from Joe Rogan's podcast and say this. I think aliens only fuck with us when we start fucking with each other. And they're like, oh shit, they have atom bombs. They can do some damage. And now they're coming back and checking us out again. Like, are they a threat? Do we need to be worried about this? Like,
Or
So you think they? check
we're the
us every-
product.
yes, I think they
and they
check us,
don't
right?
want to lose their cash cow.
That too.
I do believe they exist because the first real knowledge of it was in Roswell in 1947 when they had the first crash,
Right.
and that one where the farmer found the alien ship on his property. First was actually put into the newspapers. I mean, the military, the lower level military guy that was over it at the time, it was all in the newspaper. The sheriff was contacted. He contacted the military. They came, confirmed it, but then the general above him came down and recorrected him, made him take the photo opportunity in front of the paper that it was a weather balloon. Which funny thing about that is it was General Roger Ramey, which is my last name.
What's up?
So
Relation
That's
at all?
cool.
I don't know. I need to retract.
Yeah,
that
you
and
should.
see.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, supposedly I traced it down to where it looked like he was from the Texas area, which is pretty generally close. So
Where are you from?
I'm Oklahoma. So,
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
my whole life. So it's,
Well, you also see a lot of alien activity over Roswell or over in the western part of the United States because that's where we do our nuclear testing and everything. So they're
Right.
probably just to even further back my conspiracy theory or my theory. Let's cut out the conspiracy crap. Anyways, my theory is they're just coming here and checking us out, and it's like, you guys are fucking shit up.
putting a slap down.
Congratulations. All right. You fucked up Japan. You
Or
fucked up
like
other
I
countries.
said, they're using us to
That's-
harvest love and imagination.
Well, I like that theory better.
And if we fuck ourselves into the ground, they can't do anything with nuclear glass.
But what really makes me believe that
Make some cool
we do
windshields.
have, so that they have been here and we've stolen some technology from them or learned technology from them is, I mean, from 1947 to the year 2000, which is approximately a little over 50 years, or a little over 50 years. We went from like barely having a black and white television with rabbit ears and tinfoil on it to
Flat
cell
screen.
phones,
Yeah.
TVs in our pocket.
Yeah.
And the technology just advanced, I mean, way more faster than really it should have. We went from like sticks to barely having a television to
And that
way
was
into
all
it.
in front of us. And then you go and think, if they're 20 years ahead of us, if they were 20 years ahead of us and they had the same level of increase to technology that we did as people, then their technology is going to be a 20-year curve up higher than us today, which means that they probably already could have,
Well,
if they had the technology.
That's been going on since the invention of the telescope.
Well, Japan's always been ahead of us as
So,
well, and
well-
technology-wise. So
Little fun history fact. Bad on names, but pretty much what's been going on since the beginning of culture and society is you'd have these dreamers, inventors that were artists and builders and creators. These
Da
that were
Vinci, all that.
that
kind
were
of stuff,
building things to serve a purpose in their immediate future, right? Like telescope. Wouldn't it be really rad to be able to see people down there, right? Or on the ocean, if we need to see land from far off on these ships.
Right.
Well, immediately, kings and powers that be would be like, yeah, we gonna need that, because could you imagine the first military with telescopes? They're like, we can signal each other over there, and you can be over there, and they'll be over there, and they'll have no idea. And then we're just going, they'll be like, it was like magic. They swooped in and killed us like they had some sort of a thing. And then one doofus dropped a telescope, and everybody got the technology. But yes, and it goes like that through anytime some awesome person who's like, this would really help society. A military is like, we would give you way more money than society will right out the gate if you just show us that gig.
Right.
And then they did. And so you can track that through everything, and it's always been somebody invents a thing and then some government, military buys it and makes it very, very, very prominent. And
That's
pops
kind
up
of
a lot
like the
more.
power engine water powered engine. This guy created a car that could run strictly on water. He drove it from Chicago to LA, got to LA. Military was waiting there. Never heard from him ever again, or the car.
Funny thing on
What
that
was
is-
his name?
I can't remember his name.
And how did the story get out?
I heard it at Meridian.
Just
Techno-
important
No, I heard it at
questions.
Meridian. So how I heard it was at Meridian.
I'm
Tech-
gonna end up looking that
I heard it
Yeah.
at Meridian Technology
I gotta find out.
And
what
that's-
happened to
that's
in my automotive class.
My
so.
I'm not
No, that's all
shitting
I
or
know.
denoting anything. I'm just saying the dangers and I heard that. We all believe that now.
Believe it. It happened.
Most of
No, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
because
but
there's a lot of great people in my life, brilliant people that are that I've gone to see and heard them speak, and then you're like, how do you know? Oh, well, this guy told me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put it on the toilet
Yeah.
bowl.
I mean, Mormonism is a good example of a dude coming out of the woods saying he saw some shit, and everybody going, you know what? I like the cut of this dude's jib. Let's follow him into eternity. Everybody get on your fancy underwear.
that's kind of like that's going back into religion too, though. Someone wrote the Bible, right? And it's like, all right, this is the word of God.
No, not one. A lot of people wrote the Bible. And theory on that one is maybe, just maybe, there's some solid good advice in there.
Possibly.
And maybe, just maybe, there's people that are shitty that use good advice for bad reasons. Back to the telescope,
Right.
when you think about how much you fuck up the status quo whenever you're like, hey man, instead of how that guy took your eye out, you know how we've been just killing them all? That guy in that tribe came over to our tribe and fucked up my tooth, so we killed his family. They were like, well, that kind of threw off our money system because we started trading. And then they were like, let's just do this eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth thing. And they're like, oh my God, business is booming.
Well, I was going to tell you earlier, man, on your point of that water engine car. Is,
Yes.
Back when I was in high school, I took auto body in high school. This was 1990, dude. A long time ago. I was in auto body class, and our auto body teacher was telling us about. He went to this where they go to like display new products or whatever.
Like a car show. Yeah.
And they had the technology for body parts of cars when they get into an accident to pop back out on themselves, but the government didn't allow that because it would kill the auto body industry at that time. So that's exactly what they did to probably the water-based engine, is it would kill the gasoline industry. Plus, I mean, all the kind of
See, I heard the water engine thing from Meridian Technology when I took automotive back in high school too. So that's interesting.
Yeah, dude, you pretty much, like you're pointing out, you can't really replace with an alternative unlimited energy fuel source. You can't
Right.
replace what we have now without crashing the entire market and what basically other countries
Isn't that what
use.
we're doing though? We're crashing the market right now.
I mean, in a good way.
In a good way.
But what they're doing and what happened here is now other countries are pulling out of the backed dollar. And to me, that's a good thing because that had too much control. Where whatever the Dow did, the
Right.
whole world is gonna suffer. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then there was market manipulation that way they exposed with the GME hearings and stuff. I mean, that's still going on. I don't know
What's
what the-
GME hearing?
GME is the GameStop
GameStop.
trades.
Got it. All right, I
Yeah,
understand what's
okay.
going on now. Yeah.
And so now the hedge funds, like I was talking about before, like I don't think like one of those rich people is the CEO of Robinhood. I don't think he was a bad person originally. I think his ideas with Robinhood were amazing, and it was a breakthrough app that really helped other people like myself jump into this free market idea.
you
free
mentioned
market.
Robinhood kind of made it into a game, right?
Right, Robinhood. If you look, I mean, when you get rewards and whatnot, you finish your transfer of money. They like drop confetti, and it's an easy push, and you got stocks and stuff, and you get trade benefits and whatnot. And it's a really good app. But I'm getting out of it now because the CEO listened to billionaires, and this is all under, of course, investigation and whatnot.
Right.
But the hedge funds that they were part of, they only had like 4 markets that they were using, and they were trying to be competitive with their option margins. But the option margins were only allowing 4 markets, and 2 of them are in that hearing right now, Citadel and Melvin. And it's because what they said was you have to mark up those margins and stop the buying of GameStop. But if you stop the buying of GameStop and you only allow people to sell it, then there's only one direction for GameStop to go.
Down.
But they had to do that, or else their hedge funds would have went bankrupt because then we're going to be able to cover the option margin costs, which were marked up.
Right.
The CEO of Chewy bought a whole bunch of them at 127%. It marked up APY. Anyways, interest. Yeah, there's interest on it, and that he was going to make a whole bunch of money. And when the regular interest rate was about 80%, 70 to 80%, for some reason, GameStop, and it seemed like, they're saying there wasn't, but it seemed like there was like non-existent GameStop in order for them to cover, and they were going to bet against it again. They doubled down on their bet against it because you can either put or call. And so whenever you call, you're saying this stock's going to do good, and you'll be like, in 1 week, it's going to go from its $2 to $2.50. And if I'm right, I'm buying it at that $2, and you're going to pay me out as if it was $2.50. That's a good call. If it does get it, and it depends on market volatility, of course. But whenever you do a put, what the hedge funds were doing, where they were making, it seemed like they were making extra GameStop funds that they didn't actually have inside of their hedge fund, and then putting on them in order to bet against it more, and Robinhood stopped buying power. So then the only thing left was for them to win their puts because nobody was going to be able to buy it and everybody was going to be selling, and their put was going to be made. And so they backed themselves up with Robinhood's help, hurting the people who were supposed to be getting in this free market. And now seems like the whole thing was against the little people. We weren't going to win because they had control. So now the SEC, and more than likely, just like it was in The Big Short, the FBI will actually have to step in, or some kind of agency will step in and take over because the investigation probably won't be handled by the SEC.
Well, it's just people want to make money real fast. That's a big thing, and the fastest way to make a lot of money is to get a little money from a lot of people. Like that's the absolute.
It's true.
You don't have to sell your story so much. You don't have to really sell that hard at all. You just have to have a good enough story that a base level idiots that don't do day trade, that aren't traders, that didn't go to school for finance,
Well, a lot of those
that don't
day
have
traders,
a basic understanding on how
those
the economy
professional day
works.
traders, a lot of them didn't even go to college.
Yeah.
For me though, I'm one of those idiots who I got into Robinhood and was following that Reddit group a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely followed all of Wall Street Bets for real.
I actually bought that GameStop, and this is a confession practically, but I'm holding those GameStops until I die.
To the
Cool,
moon.
man.
Yeah,
But like
To the moon.
But like that's the thing is like I understand the cause. Don't get me wrong. I am like the most anti-establishment person you'll meet on many levels, many facets, on different levels, like down to like if just calling bullshit on a thing in front of me versus bigger things of bullshit. I'm contrarian by nature.
Ford versus Ferrari. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, right on, man. Neat.
All right.
Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
Yeah,
like these people are fighting. I just need to get from point A to point B. I don't give a fuck how. Like, you can put all sorts of brand names on shit, and I'm gonna feel the same way. Because when it comes down to it, Ford was the original badass, like top of
We're
the
gonna have this
line.
argument
You're gonna get.
Ferrari was better.
I'm talking about the original
I know
cars.
what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm like it's like.
no, Ford was the first person to give
No,
people
yeah.
2-day weekends.
Yeah, I mean, this idea of being able to help turning into a monster, and then once you build a castle so big, you're all you're trying to do is keep this castle. It's like you got me off topic, man.
I know.
but with
I do that a lot.
with the Wall Street Bet stuff, it was people like me and you who were like, wait, the internet says we could do this. and then like we get sold out to this idea.
I got sold.
Yeah, and that's fine. There's so many religions. And my thing is like I see patterns in this stuff, and wholeheartedly greedy. Like when I'm saying like get in because you got to get in quick because this is if you don't get in quick you don't do this then and so
It's the FOMO, the fear of missing out.
yeah and then these Goliaths that
I've never heard that one, but that's pretty cool.
Oh,
FOMO.
yeah.
Fear of missing out.
guilty like the we make these Goliaths out of things that weren't Goliaths. It was just loopholes, and then people started attaching some sort of morality to these suits that literally just like I wanted to go to University of Connecticut. My dad did taxes. We've always kind of been around numbers, and I'm pretty good at it. And then they're like found out that a lot of these people aren't looking at these things, and they're like, well, let's just move these papers around until this is illegal.
And that's pretty much what they're saying. Like the people who are getting questions to the CEOs of Robinhood and Citadel and Melvin, pretty much what they're saying is, we recognize now where the mistakes are, and we are more than happy to oblige to those these rules that would be set, and we'll honor them. But right now there wasn't that, so we should be good, right?
They were paying their taxes. The government was getting their cut.
and it's like
That's a big point right there.
Yeah.
The government gets their cut.
Yeah, I don't give a shit if I'm getting paid. Like, yeah, man, sell drugs in my front room. I don't know.
That's
man.
the problem with the SEC, though, right?
they pretty much they're supposed to be the ones who would have recognized what they got away with.
Right.
The SEC is supposed to have been,
And
the
that's
people who
a
recognized
government-run
that before it
organization,
happened. Yeah.
the SEC. Yeah. It just kind of goes back to like as soon as you put the government in charge of fucking anything, like the oversight is really lacking because
Very true.
everybody just kind of shrugs up like, well, I was just doing what I was told, and that's it's time and time again. People are like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, yeah, you didn't do anything at all. Like, it's fine. Just call it what it is. You know,
And now they're saying, well, we could put more regulation. We could put more federal regulation.
Yeah, man,
on it to
strap
help
us
this
all down. Fuck
situation.
it.
It's like, no. That's not what we're asking for.
hey, Mom, if you're listening to this, I'm really sorry for all my language.
Yeah.
I don't typically swear this much in front of my mom, and she's probably gonna listen to this, so I'm sorry.
Sorry, Mom.
I just
apologize ahead of time.
yeah, everybody
Viewer
here.
discretion is advised.
Yeah,
I'll put that in the
I love you,
beginning.
Mom. Yeah, I get bummed out whenever I see the same patterns on stuff. Like this all like I'm sure whenever this was popping off, the whole history of the tulip market. Did you do any sort of the reason?
No, I didn't.
All right, so my buddy was telling me about this. Essentially, the concept is when the value is no longer in the object that you're buying and selling. You inflated the idea of this. So essentially, it was coming down to like the market price of tulips was at a different place over here than it was over here, and through some sort of more words than I recall. It came down to the same thing of everybody all of a sudden just was like, wait, but GameStop and AMC are irrelevant. And everybody knows it. It's not necessary to have GameStop or AMC.
Right.
And so, like, you want to see a new movie, you can get the movie. Like, all of this is built on trying to make things as convenient as possible so you can get the little dollars from as many people as possible as quickly as possible.
Well-
And we're just seeing this machine just kind of come alive, and everybody's like, somebody's running this shit.
Right.
Like, we're running the shit. Like, we're paying for it
Right.
every day, letting everybody know that it's okay. Because, you know what? Fuck it. I like Netflix. Like, I like streaming movies.
I do too, but the problem with doing the streaming and like even getting your video games through, streaming or however you get them, I still buy the DVDs or the disc for video
That's a good
games
idea.
because, I don't know how to. I'm not tech
Be prepared
savvy,
for nuclear
so-
fallout.
I'm not tech savvy at all, so I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to shopping on Microsoft Store or whatnot. Like,
Yeah, you're like me when it comes to like, oh, I just spent way too much money. I didn't need that.
yeah, that kind.
Ah, crap.
And
Can I get it back? I can't get it back.
I like
okay.
I like going I like going out into the real world and buying it physically as well. And like the problem with why how AMC is I think we should keep it because it gives you the night out of your
Keep
house.
what?
So
AM
AMC,
like the building.
AMC's already going into a streaming partnership
So
with somebody
oh
else.
my What I'm
saying is-
Their stock. That's
Fuck.
why their stocks are going back up.
Sorry.
right
What
now.
you're talking about is literally you just want a place where we can be in a group and sit in the dark and watch a movie together.
But you still can have a date night out.
Yeah, but that's
But you're imprisoning yourself by staying
I'm
inside.
saying if you wanted to have a place where you could show movies
Go to the theater.
and have a group of people, you can build that. We're allowed to do that.
To
The
a
thing is
limitation.
when a market's not working, when your business is failing, it's because you suck. Like that's primarily how that works.
So I did do after this whole thing happened, GameStop, yeah, and the hedge funds, yeah. But after that happened, I watched probably a collective of I'm gonna say a whole day's worth, 24 hours worth. Since I did that and found out what was going on what stocks are, how to do option and margin trading. It's a cryptocurrency world. I've subscribed to a bunch of stuff. I'm a subscriber person. And so after I found out how to do it, I went to go find out what was really going on inside the GameStop area. Why did Roaring Kitty from Reddit keep buying it? And then I found out the person who bought those stocks originally, who started up a lot of this stuff, was the CEO of Chewy, the pet store thing. He had actually head people in his corporation go and work for GameStop. At the same time, GameStop closed a bunch of stores and are going to go through a reconstruction era. So what he's saying
As
is
they should have.
even after his hearing, he even went and bought 50,000 more shares of GameStop. He's saying that there's no way GameStop's dying, and this is why. The people who were backing it, the people who they were going to destroy, are gamers. And that was what their target people were. The hedge funds, maybe there was a sign that GameStop was going to fail. But they took one sign versus maybe another sign, and they said, let's bet against it. So what they're saying is that because the people, and definitely from Reddit, I mean, come on, people on Reddit are probably going to be a lot of gamers. So whenever you have this kind of following, you
no
see all
idea
these
what
people
Reddit
come
is.
at, you gotta be. All right, never mind.
Don't even.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry. I download the.
It's not a thing you gotta
I
worry about.
downloaded the app
So,
and I like scroll through it, and all I see is like aliens and conspiracy theories.
do you know
and
what
I'm just,
Discord is?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Let's
Anyway,
roll
so
back
let's
here.
move
Just
in-
say
moving on.
my main
Sorry.
thinking is that all this happens is because nobody's doing a real job. Nobody's doing anything real here. Like they're just moving money and papers around. Like
That's what they're doing,
nobody's
yeah.
creating anything. GameStop's not creating anything. AMC's not creating anything.
Right.
Like nobody's got a product here. All this is based off ideas and opinions.
Well,
Like
from our perspective, yes. But I mean, like, it's one
no,
of
no,
the
no,
things-
no, no. What the hedge funds aren't creating? There's not a product. You can't. It's not like you go to
what the
AMC
hedge funds are
Factory
doing,
and
gotcha.
pick up some AMCs, or you go to GameStop and pick up some
Yeah.
GameStops. Like no, they're all middlemen to
Right.
getting the creation
white paper.
to the people, and there's not actually anything real here. It's all based like the whole buying and selling of stocks is based off people's I don't know faith.
Opinion.
You know?
Technically, it's about keeping that fiat money
Yeah.
up. Because that's technically what we're doing. Since we removed from gold and silver, it's fake money, like you're pointing out. It's fake money. And when we're trading these stocks that are valued to a currency that is fiat, then technically you're right. There's not anything there that's really going on. It's almost all imagination. And that's probably what the aliens are getting.
That's my point. That's
got
my
it.
point.
Podcast is over.
That's where you go into. That's where you go into the Great Reset. You know?
Yeah. Well,
And then the aliens save us, and bada bing, bada boom.
I'm just.
What if we're the aliens? Has
What-
anyone thought about that?
I mean, there's theories on that. They've shown pictures and everything and videos where you see. Well, it's kind of hard to judge. I mean, some of the videos you can say there was manipulation in the film, but others, everything else in the background and everything is exactly the same, but the eyes just flip. People's eyes flip. You can see
Oh
like
yeah, the lizards.
Well,
Yeah.
what I was thinking is, what if Noah's Ark wasn't actually an ark, but
Yep.
what if it was a spaceship from
That-
Mars?
that is a big. I've heard this
And
theory.
they
This is a
shipped-
good one.
Everything that
that.
you know.
Well, one of
To
those
hear.
really interesting things, because I watched somebody talking about aliens in the biblical Bible, and some of the stuff that they had some of those woodworkers do.
Yeah.
What they built, they said was something else in the Bible, but whenever somebody took the model that they said and then placed what we have as spaceships, it looks like a lander. So it's possible that the people in the Bible who were those carpenters that became prophets and whatnot actually had direct contact with aliens in order to help them because they were going to be helping us. That goes back to also ancient Sumerian times where the Anunnaki were existing, where you have Enlil and Enki, which would be kind of your Satan and Jesus, where the creator was Enlil, I think his name was, the Enlil character.
Getting way.
Call him Tom.
But if you go back to
Come
this is where some of my theories get a little interesting because this is something I just expanded on recently without talking to my brother. Was the MC universe the way they did Thor's father, Thor and Loki's father?
Odin.
Yeah. Did you? I mean, like if you think about it, the idea of what Odin was for all those movies, all the way up until that time where he had to fight that sister, was that this guy was the perfect person and he was pretty much what you would imagine. Definitely when he was in that movie, he was the good guy.
Right.
But whenever they go to that sister movie, the roof falls apart, which would be almost like the Vatican Chapel, where you have the 16th Chapel. You know how they have all the stuff on the roof. Well, underneath it, whenever in that movie the roof fell, it showed an epic war where she was actually part of the battle to win the place where they were then, that golden city of perfect. And so you would find out that that ruler, who was a good person and ruled well, had a dirty past somewhat.
Right.
So if there was aliens, like you're saying, it's an alien thing, but it could be an alien
yeah.
God thing where in order to win this universe, this is their place. He had to go through a war. Maybe he's not a perfect God. I'm not saying this. That's blasphemy. I'm a Christian.
Woo! Gotta hedge those bets.
I'm putting down $50 on Christianity. We're gonna put that out for my wife.
To the moon.
To the moon, baby. Yeah, but Thor, the whole story about that could be possibly the alien and God story combined that does make what we conflated into a bunch of religions because of language differences, and it could be all the same books. So that's why you have all the Abrahamic religions. It's not this religion, this religion, this religion. There's no correlation. There's the Abrahamic religions where you can find the similarities between the devil of Islam and the devil of Christianity. All this stuff that I feel like if everybody was able to come together peacefully and it wasn't the war of religions and stuff that people make out to be, when it's
It
normally
all makes sense.
when it's normally
Right.
politics, it's not actually the religion. The politics use the religion and it makes a war.
Yeah, that's another thing that has gone on for millennia. Even on Hammurabi's code, right?
Yeah.
So you go back to the that ancient Babylonians, right? How systems worked back then. Whenever tribes got big enough, you'd have like I'm paraphrasing. There's more going into this, but you'd have the people, right? You'd have the common folk, right? It was
You and
just
me. Yeah, got it.
us, out there tilling our field, like taking in the sunset, being like, "This is kind of great," right? And then you'd have your government system, your kings, right?
Right.
And then you'd have your priests. All right, whether you have your priests, whatever religion, they'd have each one of their own different pagan religions or whatever. You'd have somebody in charge, you'd have the people, and then you'd have the go-between. That would be, the priests would be the ones that the kings would go to be like, I don't understand things, and the priest would be like, well, let me look in this bowl of mashed goods, or whatever it was, and then they would somewhere in there come up with something to explain to the common folk, where we're going and why.
Malachi and I got into that whole mash bowl thing from the priest. It's like
There's a special plan. They actually
Shut up! I was just saying things.
Yeah, no.
Like,
there was a rabbi who was actually questioned on it by a gentleman who did his research, and he was talking to him. He's like, "Did you know this stuff?" And the book that the rabbi recognized is like, that's exactly what it says. You're telling me that has the highest concentration of DMT?
right.
And this guy, one of the people who would go and preach to the other people, they would set this on steaming rocks, hot rocks.
Yeah.
And he would walk through this enclosed chamber.
People
where
trip
the
balls
smoke
and
of
start
all-
having.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he would go out there and give his. Now that's just a portion of religion. Doesn't mean that all of the books were written
then-
and stuff in certain ways like that.
Yeah, I always have to take it on the other side of the coin, where maybe that this is the world. The atheist nailed it. They freaking right out the gate, crushed it. No God, everything's an accident.
Crushed
Everything.
I'm putting 100
Yeah.
on atheism,
Yeah.
and I'm betting on
Yeah,
life.
whatever, man.
No.
Whatever you got to do. But
Right.
like, you take that at face value, like maybe that our brains are just continuing to evolve as we go on, and it's just happenstance, and that is a crazy cool story too. Because like now we get to be a part of the thing in the universe that only happens one time, and it could all go away, it could reset itself or whatever. But
Maybe that's why they're talking about the Great Reset,
Oh yeah, no, the Great Reset's actually been a plan. It's a planned thing that they've had for about 40 to 60 years now. Russia actually started up way back in the day a disinformation campaign that was supposed to affect a certain one generation.
Are we
That's
talking?
all he was. That's all they were aiming for.
Yeah,
And
Is
one
this
of them
the
came
limiting the
out.
population?
It wasn't actually to limit the population, not the Russian part.
mean,
China's part actually did want to limit population, and they screwed themselves a little bit. And I think they might have done it on purpose. They were making it almost out to be an accident, but I think that's how they limited their numbers.
Oh, you're
Is it
talking
like
about the
Reagan
one child
said?
thing?
Yeah, now they're older
You'd
generation.
think they'd know the math.
I think they did, and I think they did it on purpose. Now they're making it like, oh, we're victims now because we had overpopulation and we tried to limit it, and now we're suffering consequences.
So,
I think it was on purpose.
are you saying that the one family household thing was not because of overpopulation, and it was just so that they could maintain?
I think they allowed the overpopulation to get out of hand in order for them to need to put a government regulation, and then when
Okay.
they put that government regulation, knowing that by doing this we can take out a lot of population.
So that brings you back to the who You know, like
Right, and that's what I was going to get
Yeah.
into, was that the people who are in charge of a lot of this stuff, like the Russian guy, he came on television and said, yeah, it was supposed to only last one generation, but we were lucky, and we were actually cheering that it lasted 5 to 8 years after that one generation. So they were disinforming Americans for 15 to almost 20 years, trying to make sure that when we got to this point, with all the other information flooding, we wouldn't choose anything because like all this information is going to blow people's minds away.
question.
That's part of that mind control
yeah.
programming.
Yeah.
Why? Why? You know, this.
Why the whole idea?
Yeah, why?
Because
Why?
of the small percentage of people who aren't that great of people. There probably is. You had mentioned before they're like unfixable. I believe that most everybody's going to be fixable.
No, I didn't say that. You said that.
No, you said I said that, and
gotcha,
I clarified
okay.
after you said that. I was like, I did not mean
Yeah.
that they were unfixable. I didn't say that, but
I just think, what's the end game?
right. The end game is just to be able to have. All right, so you know what socialism and communism is, of course. If you
Right.
can have a leader who's capable of planning this stuff so that way the control is limited to certain people, like families, technically, it's families. If you can keep the control limited to a certain people and family, then and you get the other people, the smaller people, to give up control by creating causalities,
Right.
then you would be able to, from one point, a certain point, and that's why America was supposed to be the last country of this freedom. As soon as America goes down, which it doesn't seem like anymore, other countries have woken up since Donald Trump.
Right.
But now, if America had gone down before Donald Trump, we would have all been following a certain group of people who would have ultimate control on the outcome of everybody else's future.
The elections,
And
everything.
this,
Right.
and to me, there's way more evidence to say that is true and that is happening currently right now than there
Right.
is to say that is just a thing, that the coincidences are just there.
That's why they're working so hard to undo everything he's done, because he set them back.
Right,
He set them back
yes.
about 12 years.
He
with
was
everything
not
put in place.
supposed to win. That's why Hillary Clinton was actually celebrating. They had the system
Oh, yeah.
rigged,
They already
but they
thought
did
they won
not
it.
expect Donald Trump to get almost 100 million people to go over there and back him. Plus, guess what happened after that? Corporations now have decided they don't want to fund these things because the divide that happened in those government people, the corporations felt it because if they backed Biden, 100 million people
Yeah.
who back Trump aren't going to buy from
Oh,
you
yeah.
anymore.
And more than that.
You saw that from
that's just
Goya.
estimated
Goya, they
numbers.
were like, ban Goya. Trump supporters went and backed Goya. Great. Like,
Is that the avocado
My
thing?
Pillow.
Beans have
beans.
never been
If you'd
hotter.
had
Yes.
the stock in that at the time before it.
But see,
way
what?
up,
But what does that do? What did Donald Trump's election do right there? It limited the president's. The candidates for
so
next year
my
won't
que-
have the funding that they were just thrown at them
My question
anymore.
on this this deep state thing, it sounds like they have a lot of control.
Already, yeah.
Yeah.
They
And
estimated like what it was like. I think in the 80s that I think it was like 85% of the government was already deep state.
Well, of course, those numbers are statistics in general
Yeah,
aren't
it's
very
hard to say,
trusty in any general's perspective. But what we know is that it
Statistics.
wasn't. Statistics are a shame, and so is psychology. Unfortunately, it seemed like a lot of that stuff was just to help propagate certain mentalities, because psychology is definitely whenever you go into childhood psychology, it's like, all right, so you're telling me you got inside that person's brain, you telling me you mapped it all out and you know exactly what's wrong with them, and you're going to give them medication like ADHD, which we found out is just a meth that didn't really do anything, and ADHD probably didn't exist.
it definitely did some stuff.
No, it did stuff.
We wouldn't have Rick and Morty without ADHD medicine. I'll tell you that.
Man, the creators to Rick and Morty, though?
Oh yeah,
But with
I
the
met
administration
Dan
we got
Harmon.
in right now. We're
Really?
seeing
Yeah.
it. We're seeing
Yeah,
it.
Did you see that?
absolutely,
I mean,
we're
I know it's
seeing
a
it.
comedy thing, but
The baby rape thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch that. Talk about a joke gone awry.
That's my fate. No,
I don't have any. I'm still gonna watch Rick and Morty. I don't have anything against them because
Yeah.
that's part of their art. But it's like at the same time we saw that video, it's the same time Q people were just now getting into that big boom of the child sex trafficking. All these other
I
people.
think-
hold on. Which
celebrities.
episode is this?
No. This was just a short
Yeah,
film
this is
that
a
Dan
short.
Harmon did. That was,
It's fun.
if you
It's
look
kind
at
of
it
fun.
on paper, it's like, wow, that is hysterically messed up. So essentially, it's I don't know how to get down to the darkness of what's going on, but essentially, it's a whole big baby rape joke. Yeah, and so you.
It's about pill popping mothers too.
Yeah,
While you're taking your Xanax and sleeping soundly like a baby, I'm creeping into your child's bedroom right now to get all nice and cuddled up with him
yeah,
or whatever.
it's a baby raping joke.
This podcast turned dark just hearing this.
Hey,
This
yeah.
is awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
People need to know this. If
No,
they
it
have anything
absolutely.
against it, then Rick and Morty. Man.
Now I'm gonna go
I'll
watch
tell
it.
you right now, the joke didn't really land.
No.
Damn.
Sounds pretty warped, man.
Oh, it is. Well, the turn of it is like because they talk about how he talks about like the cycle of abuse, but he makes a joke on this that like if once a baby
that's right,
once that happens, the joke he makes is the only way to get him to undo it is that baby has to rape somebody.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
that's technically is a statistic.
I mean, there's some stuff
you
there.
guys
Hey, we're talking about statistics again.
So
I know.
so
but
here's-
No, I
if
got
you get
what you're
raped,
saying.
I'm
you
not
rape
saying
somebody else.
I'm not like for the love of God, don't watch that.
Exactly.
But
Available on YouTube.
I will say that it gets people talking.
Like, here we go.
But I will also say Dan Harmon, it was extremely busted alcoholic, like
Oh, he was.
or still is. I don't
I'm pretty
really,
sure he's
yeah.
drunk. For
He's
90%
tapering,
of the time.
but I know that a lot of his stuff is like just unraveling, and
That's why I
people.
took Rick and Morty. I
you
saw
know.
most of Rick and Morty before I ever watched that.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, if it wasn't for Rick and Morty that I watched first, I probably wouldn't have watched
You wouldn't understand. I mean, it's a bad joke, and
is.
it should be called a bad joke.
It is a bad show.
Now,
And
is he a comedian?
he's a writer. He's
Okay, so
a creator
he's
of
just a
Community, Rick and Morty, Monster House.
I wasn't sure if he was
that's
an
right,
actual
Monster House,
comedian too.
Yeah.
He does a lot.
But there, he got kind of hung up on QAnoners going into that because he's an artist that doesn't owe anybody anything.
Yeah.
So like people that don't take sides on stuff, everybody will just be really quick to read into shit and then be like, "You're this now," and then
But Rick and Morty to me is actually one of the most well-written animated shows I've ever seen.
he's
Absolutely.
he's such a brilliant writer, and he's focuses on sticking to like the structure. He's like, and what's crazy is he writes from the same pattern of structure, the same story circle every single episode. There's these story arcs that go through the exact same 1 through 8. If you don't know about the story circle, look up the story circle, and your writing will get way better.
I'll definitely look into that.
But it's the same patterns throughout. He just ends up making it look wild and then expanding on this solid structure. And
he also what I liked about it sometimes is when he would break that wall.
Oh yeah,
and he would just like have them turn and be like, "Well,
yeah,
it brings you into the show. It makes you
Yeah.
way more welcomed
It
into
breaks
it."
the fourth wall and all that.
Yeah, it's. I can watch episodes over. And there's that episode whenever they get in. He opens up his car that breaks down, and he gets into the battery pack, and inside the battery pack is a universe that he created to make energy to continue his car to be infinite energy. Well, he realizes that's messed up. He goes into that universe he created, and he sees that one of the smartest guys in that universe created its own universe to make its own power. So, like, answering those same questions of like, what do you even know? Like, so
That's what I liked about
it's a
him.
brilliant mind bending
The quantum
nihilism.
the quantum physics that I had looked into, I saw him just play with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I
Throwaway
was all studying it and
characters
taking it serious, and it was so enlightening just to see somebody take it and just make these worlds, create these different objects, these tools that did some cool stuff that you're like, oh my gosh, I know something about quantum physics that he probably even picked up from that made that a thing in his imagination.
Yeah.
Rick and
pretty
Morty
cool.
is a mindfuck. Sorry, Mama.
No. It's all right. I think it's all right.
But
Sorry,
it's a messed up show. I want to get into
Crazy
this.
what Hollywood and these shows will do, because I mean, a lot of that stuff they're telling you something.
I was just about to go into Hollywood. That's perfect.
Yeah, we've been talking way too much,
I know.
and
So-
you guys are on camera. There's going to be a lot,
Lot
You're
more,
of-
on camera.
yeah.
These guys are on camera.
but you're not
Did you
on
not
camera.
get your camera?
No, I mean my phone, and
Ah.
I was gonna have to switch this board. If I wanted
It's
to.
all good.
Yeah.
So, like this conspiracy theory with, I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory, Hollywood. Me and Malachi were talking about this yesterday. Assassin's Creed specifically. It kind of, we talked about the ball or the what the Templar. So the Templars.
Looking glass. I think it's
the
the
Looking
I've
Glass
heard
or-
the name. Yeah, the
uh,
Looking Glass is a QAnon thing. Do you know about it?
See
Somewhat.
into the future? Is that-
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
looking glass, so you see in certain.
backyard.
Yeah, dude. More
You
than
can't jump into the future.
You
but
guys
can
keep
actually see
going.
what's
Go.
going on.
What's that?
That's where you can't really jump into the future, but you can see what's going on. Right?
Correct. Yeah, and it gives you different outcomes, so you end up finding a way. Yeah, it's good.
I got it.
It's gonna be on this side.
I didn't have it.
And it's pick up that door and twist that lock.
Yeah, I just kind of recently seen a few things about the Looking Glass, and I hadn't really dove deep into
So
that.
what
one.
is it called? There's the Tesseract is a depiction of something that has that ultimate power, and they did it in the MCU universe.
Then you're gonna want to take that handle with you as well.
Or you can't get in. Just put it in the other side. Oh, help.
Oh, I forget you guys. This isn't live, so
No, we're good. Yeah,
there's
we
going to
can
be
edit everything.
drop moments is good, and
This would be fun. But yeah, Hollywood basically controls.
Oh yeah,
Like
I mean,
it sets our mind to believe in like with Malachi, what he was saying, like Looking Glass with the Templars and everything in Assassin's Creed. Like maybe they're making fun of something that's actually out there and real.
I think they really tell Hollywood tells us stuff and drops little bits of information throughout the years so that your mind can be manipulated enough to accept it.
Right.
Just like the aliens, all those aliens were probably just exactly what they depicted as in these movies, so that when it actually does come about, that you're not so
Surprised.
shocked and locked down on society doesn't get so locked down on it.
So the alien part of everything, and the same thing with religion. Project Bluebeam is a tool that they might use in order to get people to play into that Hollywood dream, where they've shown the end of the world with aliens coming in, Independence Day, stuff like that, and the need for everybody to get together and fight this one thing.
Right.
That's globalist. That is people trying to get you scared enough to say, I welcome globalism, and we're going to work together now in order to fight this one thing. But Project Bluebeam, if you saw the 4th
seen
of
Bluebeam.
I've
July.
not seen it.
I mean, what was it? No, I guess it was New Year's. Yeah, New Year's. They did that whole fake, pretty much thing at the Needle or Times Square, whatever it was. And
Where it
there
paused?
wasn't anything on there, but if you watched it on YouTube, you saw this amazing work of art that's all CGI practically.
Right.
They also have these 3D holograms now that project
Oh, yeah.
Michael Jackson and these people. So Project Bluebeam is
Tupac.
supposed to be like, let's see how many
That's amazing stuff.
people will believe in aliens, how many people will believe in the coming of Jesus Christ. And with Project Bluebeam, they'll be like, all right, so here's the scale, and we're going to say, let's just say more people believe in aliens. Well, let's just pick this day over here, and we'll build up a bunch of stuff, FBI leaks, military leaks.
Yep.
And then we'll give fake aliens, and we'll get everybody to come together, and we'll beat them, but now we got the one world order.
can we call them
That's exactly what's going on,
Phalians?
man, 'cause, I mean, they are dropping information already. All of a sudden they're allowing us to know that yes, they did see aliens. It's like, well, okay, well, they held it all this time.
The
and
only
why are
thing
they all of a
the
sudden
one
saying,
thing
yeah,
that
we're
makes
gonna
it,
confirm it,
I do believe aliens exist. There's
With
to
aliens
me,
are
it's really
nice.
hard to believe that they don't exist if the expansion of the universe is actually there.
What if the aliens are actually nice people?
And they could be.
the one world government. Or
Well, if
order
they
is
were
just
dicks
scary.
and they have the technology that they do, oh wait, they could just be making us have rough times.
I was
guess
about to say,
Like,
maybe
Take
they're
there's the
Truman
diarrhea we brought up. It's all full circle.
maybe the Simpsons are right. There are aliens watching
But
our
I've
networks.
dug
Yeah.
into a little bit of what you're talking about, the Blue Beam, about
Yeah.
them doing a fake situation to where they wanted to do a one world government, so they got to create a mass hysteria situation where everybody's freaked out about, okay, the aliens are going to take us over, so they yeah, like you said, they do the CGI or just the images above
yeah.
us that there's
Holograms.
Holograms.
You
that
can
there's-
do a hologram. And if you broadcast on TV, and there's a conspiracy theory that when we had Mr.
Tally.
Tally over,
Yep.
after the show, I talked to him a little bit, and he had mentioned somebody who said the Twin Tower thing didn't happen. And that's a stupid remark because the Twin
Didn't
Towers aren't
That was,
there anymore.
that was actually me that mentioned that.
Oh.
That wasn't Tally. That
Well,
was
I know,
me.
but I'm talking about whoever told.
Appreciate you
whoever,
being honest.
Whoever spoke about it, you or him. I guess it's you.
It
You
was
mentioned
Marjorie
somebody.
Lynn Green or Marjorie Green or the
Oh,
representative.
that's right.
She
So
said
it was not a very wise remark to make because the Twin
It
Towers
happened.
aren't there. So how can you say things didn't happen
Well,
when they're gone?
I can't see them from
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
so-
exactly.
Right.
Unless you made them
I've never been to
question
New
is, how
York,
did it
so
happen?
Exactly.
If it
What her
exists.
question was really entailing, and this is what I was telling him, was it might not have been exactly what everybody was told it was. And were there two planes that crashed? I don't know. Like a lot of that stuff now has all gone up in question because of leaked footage and the people jumping out with their parachute. Like it was planned from that one. I forgot what floor it was.
Somebody parachuted?
Yeah, they pretty much paraglided down from the building on the other side in order for it to look like people were jumping out of the building. And they did
To
it.
give them that-
You know
give
who
them
they-
that
You know who
mindset.
did it? The people working to put the possibility that somebody put explosives up there with that art group. Yeah, in that one floor they put a balcony there for some reason. And you're like, why would you put a balcony? And then the Twin Towers crash and somebody jumps out and hand glides around the building. Yeah.
giving everyone in the building
I would
an idea
I would
to
put a
jump.
balcony up on a really high building.
I would too, but
But it's just one?
yeah, it's
Random
just
balcony.
literally
I mean,
one.
if it's my floor,
I mean,
like-
if your
They
name
got
is
permission
Donald
to do it.
Trump,
They weren't gonna stay there.
maybe.
They were art students supposed to do a project up there and then leave, and they weren't ever going to go back.
Right on.
So they went up there and they call it the B team or B thing or whatever it is because the idea of the explosives that were there and military people went in and saw the boxes and said that box is used in this and it's supposed to contain this. And whenever you see the plane crash and you look at how it happened, even their footage shows a big old bellowing explosion coming out.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All the architects are like they can't really melt down that certain way.
You gotta understand.
It's a
Every
controlled fall,
year,
too, if you look at it, it's a controlled fall.
It's a-
every year I have my
implosion.
birthday party on 9/11
don't ruin this for him.
from 9 to 11,
What?
so that nobody forgets what time.
Is your birthday actually?
No, my birthday's on the 1st. Yeah. So yeah.
It was like
No.
12 or 13.
No, all of a sudden, like, check him for wires. Now, and so, like, this started actually a few years ago. We would spend the day watching, watching
Video.
all the different conspiracy videos at the time, and they've gotten better over time.
Oh yeah.
A lot, and like talking about leaked footage. Granted, hallucinogens may or may not have been involved at the time. Every time. But may or may not have. Mom, sorry. I'm a new creation now. Anyway, like what I kind of gather from all of this is like you said, like more footage has been leaked or more footage has been made.
Or
Like
Oh.
you know, like we've had a lot of time to edit video.
No, you're right.
You know, and
20 years this year.
and I know what a turd I am. And if I was a kid and I knew how to edit videos real well, and I knew like, okay, well, there's a bunch of these fools in flyover states that will just gobble this shit up. I was 100% just screwing with people for days. You know, and that's why like I recently watched a documentary, the Phenomena. It's the new UFO documentary
boy.
that's talking about the government having a whole system and a whole group of what the government has classified stuff dealing with just UFOs. They have a crew for that, which you'd need to in case now that we have planes and we can blow each other up. You want people looking at the sky, just in general. So it just kind of throws me back to like where I take the other side of things. Like, well, we did have the Reagan's Star Wars You know, and there's different different thoughts on that.
Nobody ever asked what happened to that.
No, that just and from I'd like to go with the most simple possible answer to things. Government runs shitty, so maybe, just maybe, this idea of like, no, we're just gonna fake them out. Like we're just fake. Wait, we got no. You saw us shoot some rockets up into space. That's the stuff we're showing you. And how many other situations have been built on bluffs before? Like
Well,
so.
it's just like he was saying, they're probably like 20 years, at least 20 years ahead of us in technology.
Right.
So I mean, you see nowadays where people can get on these little bitty phones and videos and re-edit their face to look like some kind of Hollywood star on their body.
Or an anime person.
How do we know? I mean, the government hasn't been editing
Cartoon.
video for, so
Look
long.
damn good.
I mean, even like the
Mm-hmm.
moon landing or whatever. I mean,
Right.
they could have been editing video for so long.
Well,
to show us what we
So
want
what
to see.
is real?
let's say
Is this real? Are we
let's
really
say
here?
let's say
Good
that
question, man.
let's say that the government, they faked all the Star Wars thing, that we didn't actually have lasers up in space to shoot down your ICBMs, and let's say that we didn't, and we've bluffed them, we got them, cool, to get to maintain space, peace, right? Space and peace almost have the same letters. Anyway,
It's a conspiracy.
but they don't.
C, not an S.
But they don't. So, like, I'd be willing to bet that, like, you know what? It's not outside the realm of possibility. The government's like, yeah, we need to have a system where we send out all these pictures to look like there's aliens, so that we make it look like they want to deal with us. Because our country has the most sightings of any of them. And I wouldn't say it's outside of the realm of possibility if some chuckle fucks in the government are like, hey, let's just go ahead and say that we got all the alien stuff. And then other people in other countries are like, they got alien technology? Well, they got iPhones. That's a good point. When, like, we were the first ones with radio towers, really. Like, I got this app on my phone where I can search over the whole globe and listen to any radio stations anywhere on the planet. And you know what most of them are playing? Our music.
Well, you also have to think America, or North America, the United States of America. Let's go with it. Yeah, that one sounds better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried 3 times. Anyways,
Eminem would say, "White America." Sorry.
Yeah, you have to think like we were ahead of our time even 200 years ago becoming a country because we wanted independence. If you look at China,
We were
Russia,
the first one with the guns, bro.
well, if you look at Russia and China, like they still had a monarchy. Like they stayed in the past for a long time. Like they had an empire or an emperor that was ruling over them. So he was the one that decided whether or not, hey, this is going to happen, this is going to not happen. With America, it was open to the people when it opened or it started out. So, hey, what about radio towers? Like, that's a good idea. Yeah, let's do radio towers or something like that. So that's my opinion. It's more of a free capitalist country. It is a capitalist country.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that America, I feel, did really great was be able to give people the freedom to live and die by their own hand. When it comes to farming, when it comes to creating a business, to take a risk, to go and make a business happen. Are we about done?
That guy's dead. You have no camera, but everything's still running.
All right, sick. I'm not
wasn't sure.
dead. They didn't cut me out because I was getting too rowdy. But like, whenever you see humans have the opportunity to take what they're given and turn it into more, for the most part, we do a good job.
Right.
For the most part, we're like, well, I don't like things feeling shitty. Is there anything I can do to make things less shitty? Let's do that. And then those things work, and then they turn into their own culture, and then it's on small little scales of different things. So America just started that. It seems like it started out similar like that, where they were like so afraid of what was out in the woods. That there's all these crazy things out there. The westward expansion was a wild idea that's why we still talk about Lewis and Clark, is they were like the craziest people.
They were the conspiracy theorists back then.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
Well, more than anything, because you would say conspiracy theorists, I feel like they were people who rightfully questioned things. And
Okay,
whether
yeah.
you consider that conspiracy theorists.
No.
Or
what was
somebody-
their?
That's what I like. Is you got to question everything.
Right, and that's exactly
Absolutely.
what I feel like America was done. How it was came across was because first of all, a group of people who ended up being more of a leader representative to a lot of the smaller people said, "I'm going to question the authority. If they don't want us, then we're going to get out. We're going to pack up and leave, and we're going to go make ourselves something better." And that's what they did. And then eventually, they didn't think it all the way through, and they were
And
like,
it
"Oh
caught
crap,
up.
we need trades, we need this, we need that." So then we had to make deals, and when we started making deals as an independent colony and stuff, and we got 1776 rolling, I mean, it was a step up. The steps that came after questioning something
Oh my God.
and making your own future yours is exactly what America became. And
It's
then
like
they
a-
had to infiltrate that to try to take all those freedoms away until we are till right here, right now, where all the
Right.
regulations on all sorts of things are all over the place, and they want to put new words in the books and stuff. It's like,
Oh my God, it's like a rich son leaving his rich dad because he thinks he has all the money in the world. So he leaves. And then daddy's like, no, that's not how it works. You still need me. And he's like, fuck, I do need you.
It's just frustrating that the world right now
That's for my simple-minded
questions.
people.
we're
right.
questioning anything, man.
But
we're
that's-
just programmed to accept.
When I went to go look into that, I feel, and I'm a conservative, so I don't believe
No.
so much as that blame Russia, blame Russia, blame Russia. But right now,
Exactly.
in our current situation, the reason why people don't want to question things, don't like information, is because of Russia.
Okay, let me ask you a question. This kind of intertwines into the,
Yeah,
the
sure.
space program and stuff. For a long time, we haven't been going up in space on our own.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We've been going up in space with the Russians
Mm-hmm.
to their space station too.
Right.
It's a unit thing for
Oh,
a
yeah,
bunch of
that-
countries. Nations
So
We
came
go-
together
we
to
go
do it.
If the
train
Russians
over
are
in
so
Russia.
evil against us, why are we going up to space with them?
My favorite things that I used to joke about, still do. I need to get back on working on this cartoon idea that I've been kind of toying with for a few years. But I like the idea that there is this Illuminati, and they're just doing their best.
Right here, before we get that so far off, I don't believe that every country is this evil entity that just colludes with the evil entity. What Epstein revealed is that most of these people were blackmailed.
Right.
They
Oh,
were were tricked, and when they
Exactly.
fell for that trick, in order to keep their position, they have to abide. And if they don't, normally you'll find an article somewhere out there that says, "Oh, so and so died," and we already know they have heart attack medicine that will make somebody have a heart attack and it looks like they had a
Oh, yeah.
heart attack. I mean, you can make somebody commit suicide and they're suicided. There's a term for that. So and then Russia's always been able to delete people, and so has China. So it's not like this is a new
So have
thing.
we.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I
So
mean, what's stopping
the idea
from-
that
yeah.
everybody's bad, I'm on your page. I think there's a very, very small group of people who are these ultimate evil people. And they probably are a little bit, they could be fixable, but they don't want to be fixed because the control that they have is so good for them. You know what I mean?
I don't even think they think
evil.
they're bad people. I think that they think they're doing the best they can. I really do. I think that they think they're the good guys in their own ultimate journey.
Down for the Gipper today.
And like honestly,
We'll write that one
That's
down.
where we're getting right.
I think they've been doing a great job
There you go.
since the first group of the Illuminati group back in Belgium. I think
They're
they've
going to
been
get a Netflix special.
right
I know
out the
it,
gate.
dude.
They've been
Yes.
crushing it, and I'm just proud to be a part of the organization. I mean, I've said too much.
He's gonna get the title. He's gonna be like, "Hey, we want this guy. Everybody else, we'll get rid of them."
Guys,
Shout out to you, Uncle Soros.
there you go.
Good stuff.
Big fan. Love your what do they put on the crops? All of it.
Love all of it. Love all of it. Guys, this has been one hell of a podcast. We're definitely going to have to do another episode for
Yeah.
sure.
This is going to be a much better audio than video
God.
because the people
I'm
off
gonna be
camera
working- I'm
saying
gonna be
that-
working on that.
Yeah, they're just gonna be like we could have faked this whole thing with just you turds just sitting over there while we're rambling.
Guest appearance.
Yeah. I guess I.
Yeah.
You made your guest appearance by walking through.
I didn't try.
All right, guys. Peace.